What is up, guys? We are sending it. Morning mission. We only have a few hours to dive. Scott, what are we doing?
Cobias.
There's no cobia anymore.
Cobias.
What else? Try again. Sheepshead. All right, sheepshead are on the table. We're taking out the little boat. This is my first time. We're here with Ben. This is his sled, and everybody knows Scotty Boy. I don't know what he's wearing on his head. He tries to play the part of an innocent person, but he's not. He's a killer. He's a certified killer. Scotty? All right, but we're gonna send it. We're gonna start at like 70 feet. We're gonna dive spots that we kind of fished but never really dove much. And I'm kind of foreign to this area, so we're gonna get in and see what happens. So stay tuned for some tips and tricks, and I'll see you guys out there in the water. All right, we got the Viz. Oh man, it's blue. It is blue. We're gonna sit here a little bit, get ready, and kind of see what the drift is doing, see what the wind is doing, all that stuff. Sick. All right, we're gonna get suited up and get in the water. All right, you guys, welcome back underwater. So now the whole goal we have here is we are on a reef structure, and we have the electric trolling motor trying to keep us on the same spot, and we have a giant float line and tethered out like a couple hundred feet back behind the boat. And so the idea is to make drops at the boat and then come back up, grab the float line, and then make our way back. That way we stay on the same spot. And ideally, in a perfect conditions, it should work. And we usually have a decent amount of current, but today's current was insane. But with that extreme current, we had really good viz. So we ended up scrapping the whole idea because the trolling motor couldn't keep up with the current. Especially with the divers hanging off the back, so it would slowly back down and it wouldn't make it. So we just had to do drift diving, which, you know, you kind of have to adjust and make those adjustments as you go based on the conditions. But the conditions were perfect for diving. Right now I make an 80-foot drop. This is my first dive of the day. I go down, toss up sand. I saw a mutton kind of off in the distance, and I was hoping that once I went down, kicked up sand, it would kind of show some interest, but it unfortunately didn't, and that's kind of the way it goes sometimes. But on this next dive, I get a little bit closer, but the good news is the muttons were around, and so on this drop, and remember, do not take short time between drops. Make sure you have at least double, maybe triple the time your dive was, double it, your surface time, at least just to be safe. I never really push it. And so here's the second drop, coming across some reef structure. As I'm going down, I see some muttons there at the bottom of the screen, off in the distance, and my goal is to get down to the bottom and do some grunting and some sanding. I usually, if you grab a handful of sand, toss it up. If you have some bottom time, usually they hang out. There's a nice mutton off in the distance. Now I could shoot one of these mangroves, but I'm kind of just gonna bank everything on trying to get one of these solid muttons, and they're actually coming right to me, but then they veer off to the side, and I'm still sitting there grunting, holding my bottom time, and then I see them just kind of sitting there in the current, just swimming. They're not really showing me any interest, so I kind of decide to go pursue him, and once I do, he kind of takes off, and I just cut my losses, head to the surface. I realize that they're not really gonna have any of it unless maybe we had some chum. But yeah, we could have dove this place a little bit more, but we decided to move to shallower waters, maybe just try different zones, because this would have been really tough to be diving this 80-foot stuff all day long. So here was our, we headed inshore a little bit, did a little chumming, and we're only in like 40 feet of water. This is some shallow stuff that we decided to hit, and we don't have a lot of time out on the boat, and that was why we kind of just gave up that, because that would have been a lot of time, because you gotta do long dives and you have to have very long surface intervals. So that's why we decided to move a little shallower. Goal was to get dinner. Like, that's what we really needed. So I made a drop on this one. I'm kind of just hanging out, coasting in the current, and then there's a couple mangroves cruising by, and here comes a decent sized one, and I shot. And with this kind of low viz, you just want to kind of point and shoot. You know, they're not going to sit there and give you the time of day. They come in, check out what you are, what the chum is, and once they realize you're nothing of interest, they kind of book it the other direction. So if you get a shooting opportunity, it's going to be a short window because the viz is so low, and then take the shot. Here I go braiding this thing. I highly suggest it. Brain them, bleed them, and then gut them, because those guts can be used as chum to go down and possibly attract another fish. And I kind of get to the surface, kind of laugh at how small this guy actually was. He looked bigger because he was close to me, but he's definitely legal, but on the smaller side.
Stud.
So a trick I learned is just go ahead and put your fish, you know, I'm working my way to the boat, but I want to make sure I load my gun in case I see something on the way to the boat. But just load your gun, put the fish on the tip of your gun, and just kind of swim it over to the boat. That's a little tip and thing to save some time.
Dude, I'm winning the contest for the smallest legal size mutton. Or the smallest legal size mangrove. Yeah.
So here we go diving the same area. You see a very small glimpse of something down below. It was a kingfish that came into the chum, and when you're going for pelagics, you don't have a lot of time to like say, hey, there's a fish here. You just got to make a drop. And I was hoping that I missed my opportunity on this kingfish initially, but I was hoping there was maybe some muttons or something underneath it. There was some bait fish underneath it, but here comes the king. He made another pass, and there were actually a couple more with him. So there was just a big school running through, and you saw that my gun actually wrapped up a little bit on the anchors for my pre-tension bands. And if that ever happens, I just swim to the fish, kind of show it, give it any amount of like give you can, and then just unscrew up whatever situation
Shot a king. Yo.
you have go wrong.
Yo.
I've been muzzle wrapped before where I just have to take my time and try to untangle or unhook something that gets hung up improperly. But I baby this guy. I was kind of worried about the spear pulling out. It was only my second fish of the day. I know we're kind of leaning towards the end of our diving. So yeah, I was kind of babying him, letting him, you know, swim, and just trying to, I didn't want to horse him in and have the spear rip out just for no reason whenever I don't have to. And I only do that when there's no sharks around, which I hadn't seen any. So, and once you get these fish, get a hold of their tail, and that completely demobilizes them. And then once you get them in your hands by the gills, brain them, and then bleed them. And honestly, it doesn't matter either order. I just like to brain them so they don't get a chance to flop out of my hands. And normally I go from the side to brain, but kingfish are a little different and Spearos are a little different. I usually go top down because you have more of a flatter surface to get to the brain. And then yeah, like I said, bleed them, especially kingfish, because they do have that bloodline. And the way I'm gonna cook this one up is special, so stay tuned to see why you have to brain, bleed, and gut these guys. Same thing here, just gutting right down the middle. Then you put your knife away, and then use your other hand, grab all the guts out, and use them as chum. There we go, baby. Got us a mackerel. Nice one. Nice king. Woo, beauty. That is gonna be some fresh sashimi. And if you know, you know. If you don't know, well, you're about to find out. Oh yeah, stoked on that guy. Kind of came in. I saw him, and from the surface, made a drop. He kind of spooked. Reset, kind of decided to just go down and see if there was like maybe a mutton cruising underneath him. Wasn't. It was just him, and there may have been a couple more. But yeah, that's perfect eating size. I'm gonna dice him up, and I'm gonna show you guys a little trick. Nobody knows, but kingfish is some of the best sashimi. Heck yeah. So Ben got into something. What'd you get into? Nice mang. They were getting the
Whole cooker.
Getting the deck bloody.
Man gang.
Man gang, we're the man gang. Heck yeah. Nice little king.
Bang, gang, gang, bang.
Getting it done on the little skiff. Nice little morning mission.
What a day.
Scott, is that the biggest kingfish you've ever seen in your life?
Might be a Spearo macro, we don't know.
No, it's not a Spearo. It is not a Spearo.
Dude,
Dude, that's a big
the
Spearo.
same king I saw Sky yesterday. I was just telling Jack before he got in the water.
There were
I was like,
more.
Dude, right before Laura said she was seasick, I king just got out of the water.
Dude,
He hops in and shoots.
there were more. That wasn't the only one. Yeah, I saw a bigger one come in. So here we go on our way in from diving. We wanted to stop and hit these rock piles. We kind of had low expectations, but we could pick up a mangrove snapper or sheep's head or even a cubera or grouper or something on the way in. And you see that giant school? That's snook. So, and those are off limits. And also there was a big Goliath there. And same thing, current was pumping here. So I just went down to the bottom, was kind of just cruising around just above the structure, hoping something would peek out or look at me, and then I kind of pursue it. That's kind of what happens right here. There's a mangrove that shows up in just a second, and it was a good sized mangrove. He's pretty far off, but I just honestly point and shoot. And that was a very long shot. It almost took all of my shot line. It was probably about over a 15-foot shot. I aimed for the gill plate and he darted and it hit him in the tail. But I was pretty stoked on that, and there was almost no fight where you hit him in the tail. It takes out their only means of transportation. And then, yeah, I was pretty stoked on getting this guy on the last dive, on the last drop.
Got a mang. Shot it right in the tail. Long range.
All right, we're headed in. We got some fish. Scotty, hop up real quick. Let me take a look at that. Dude, nice and brine. Got a nice bang at the end. It's a beaut. Yeah. Look at that. Solid. Long range, tail shot. Tail shot is a holding shot. That's what I've been told. And I just aimed mid-body, let it fly. That was super far, but I'll take it. It kind of split decision, decided to shoot. Love that roller because you can swing it and just point it and shoot. You don't have to be locked out. It's good to do it, but you don't have to be. Just swing and shoot. It just like vibrates in your hand. Love the roller, but we're gonna send it in. All right, Ben, you wanna tell everyone what you did?
Well, the first time I ever dove with Scotty, I lost his shaft in 80 foot of water. I just dropped it over the side of the boat.
Guess who dropped it right here
First
at the
time
dock?
I ever dove with Captain Jack, I'm throwing his kingfish on the deck and I dropped it in the water. It's sitting right under the door. I'm sorry, dude.
Well, I gotta go get it now. Here you go. You can video it. It's on. It's running.
Don't cut your feet. You want to put these booties on? Sure you don't want to put these booties on?
He's right there, Lane.
Oh, he's right there. All right, yeah, all right.
He's laying up against the thing.
Good. Makes me feel better.
All right, I need to get it over here.
Yeah, get in the boat, dude.
To get up.
That's how I make friends. I lose their stuff. Oh, I'll do some dips real quick.
Pump out some dips. Here. That's how it's done.
Make him
That's how it's
taste
done.
a little better.
This one's done the wrong way.
Does Scotty want his snapper in there? Or does he got it?
All right, so this is the trick. You see that loin? You gotta shave it off. Can you? Scotty's my cameraman. So you get right along the edge, and you just slide in the knife sideways. It literally just rolls off. And you can cook the other stuff, but this is what you're left with. Nice little meat nugget. All right, you guys, we're at my place. Laid out some paper towels, and what you do is you just get them and just roll them up in these little paper towel nuggets. And then when you're done with these, You put them in a Ziploc, and they last like a week. I will show you how to make this into some poke. All right, so we got it all done up. So I just diced this kingfish into like little tiny pieces, kind of as tiny as I want to do, like have them like the size of my thumbnail. Diced up some ginger. We got some cauliflower rice, some greens, and I'm gonna put some of this poke marinade and some sriracha mayo over top of that, and then I'm gonna sprinkle some sesame seeds and then also some sesame seed oil, and that will be it. And I know it is gonna be freaking phenomenal. So if I was a big baller, I would use chopsticks, but I don't got them, so I'm just gonna make sure I get a little bit of everything. Dude, that was perfect. You gotta try kingfish. But you guys, I'm so happy I could take you on this adventure. Check out my recent 3-day adventure over in the Virgin Islands. I will link the first video up here in the corner. It was some incredible diving in a new area. And if you like this episode, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you're new, consider subscribing. Comment below. I love reading your comments. Love commenting back to you guys. And like always, I'll see you next week for another adventure.